Behind the fame of Thai BL actors lies a truth that few dare to face: crushing pressure, painful losses, and seemingly insurmountable adversity. Yet 15 of them refused to give up and rose to the top. These are the stories that fame tries to hide. If you're ready, then let's begin. Daou Pittaya Saechua's journey didn't begin with applause or opportunity. It began in a small house where he was raised by his grandmother for most of his life, while his parents worked tirelessly to support the family. In that quiet corner of Thailand, Daou learned early on that dreams don't grow on their own. They require courage, resilience, and a willingness to stand alone when no one is watching. He carried that lesson into adulthood, working every job he could find, waiting tables, selling goods, singing late into the night just to earn enough to keep his artistic dreams alive. No connections, no shortcuts, just determination. And then he made the boldest decision of all, joining the survival show LAZ Icon. Hundreds of contestants, one chance. Each round tested not only his talent, but his endurance, his discipline, and his belief that a boy from humble beginnings could rise. Daou didn't just survive the show, he won. That victory didn't hand him success, it simply opened the next door. He launched into acting with the same fire, proving in Love in Translation and Century of Love that he's far more than a reality show winner. He's a rising star shaped by grit and fueled by resilience. Daou's journey reminds us of a universal truth. Greatness doesn't require a perfect starting point. It asks for faith, perseverance, and the courage to keep moving forward even when the path feels impossibly narrow. His story is an invitation to dream boldly, to rise honestly, and to believe that where you begin will never define how far you can go. Some journeys begin quietly, far from fame or opportunity. Perth Tanapon's story is one of them. Before he became a household name in Thai BL dramas, he was just a boy with dreams bigger than his circumstances. No family name, no financial advantage, no open doors. He took the bus to auditions, practiced his lines by himself, and faced rejection over and over again. Not because he wasn't good, but because breaking through without support is incredibly difficult. Yet Perth kept performing. He didn't get into the industry by luck, he got in through perseverance. He taught himself acting, learned from failure, and kept going even when doubt weighed more heavily than hope. So when Love by Chance finally came his way, he wasn't just ready, he was hungry. His role as A wasn't flashy, it was genuine. Soft, poignant, authentic enough to resonate across Asia. Audiences felt something deeper because Perth brought pieces of himself to the role. Vulnerability, pressure, fear of not being good enough. Behind that success were long nights, emotional stress, and moments when giving up would have been the easier path. But he didn't. He kept climbing, step by step, until the world finally saw what he had been quietly building. Today, Perth is proof that humble beginnings are not limitations, they are an origin story. His rise shows that talent means nothing without persistence, and that dreams matter most when you fight for them with everything you have. And as we move into the next chapter of this series, we carry Perth's message with us. Greatness isn't given to you, it's shaped by courage, discipline, and a refusal to give up. In every generation of Thai BL stars, there's a story that shines like a glimmer of light in the darkness. And for many fans around the world, that glimmer is Mew Phiravich. Born into a humble family, with no artistic background and no wealthy connections, his journey began far from the spotlight. Before anyone knew his name, Mew worked part-time jobs, chased his dreams on shoestring budgets, and accepted small, forgettable roles just to stay on set. For years, he stood behind the camera more than in front of it, but he never let the industry's silence define him. What kept him going was a quiet resilience, the kind that grows in people who've learned to survive without applause. Mean trained himself, learned acting from borrowed scripts, and watched others rise while he waited for an opportunity that felt like it might never come. But he stayed true to his work, true to his dream. And slowly, very slowly, that dedication began to carve its own path. Then Love by Chance came along, the turning point that lifted him out of obscurity and into the spotlight. Suddenly, the boy who once blended into the background became one of the most recognizable faces of the new BL wave. Not because success was handed to him, but because he fought for it. Mean transformed years of being undervalued into proof that talent can thrive, even in the shadows. His story reminds us that even if you begin in the darkest corner of the room, you can still create your own light and let the world see it. Where are you watching from? Let's connect through these stories. And as we move into the next chapter, remember this: we're here to celebrate courage, growth, and the power of rising from humble beginnings. Not every memorable journey begins with an event. Some start with someone who never thought they would get anywhere. Krist Perawat is not the guy people look at and whisper, "He was born to be great." He comes from a quiet world, surrounded by simplicity, where dreams remain humble and life flows gently. He does not seek attention. He does not force his way. He simply exists, softly, almost invisible. But fate always has a way of tapping the shoulder of those who never raise a hand. When Sotus catapulted him onto the world stage, Krist wasn't ready for it. How could anyone be when fame arrives without warning? One day he was a soft-spoken student, the next he was the name on everyone's lips. Fame does not knock, it opens. With it comes scrutiny, pressure, the fear of disappointing millions. For someone who once shied away from the spotlight, becoming the center of it felt like standing in a storm without an umbrella. But the story shifts from there. Krist doesn't run away. He doesn't flinch. Instead, he faces an inevitable enemy, himself. He overcomes his anxiety, learns to breathe amid the noise, discovers a voice he never knew he had. And he accepts the truth that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, steadfast, unshakable. Krist's journey isn't a story of escaping poverty, it's a story of breaking free from limitations, realizing that gentleness isn't weakness, and that your past doesn't determine how far you can go. He shows the world that even a boy who blends in with the crowd can become a story everyone wants to tell. And that's why his rise resonates so deeply, because it reminds us that greatness isn't reserved for the bold. It also awaits the quiet souls, brave enough to step forward when life finally calls their name. Benjamin's story wasn't a big deal to the world. It started quietly, almost unnoticed. Long before Thai BL fans knew his name, he was just a young man from a humble background, chasing auditions that rarely led anywhere, taking modeling jobs that barely paid enough, and accepting roles so small they disappeared the moment a scene was cut. He wasn't the chosen one. He wasn't the face people expected to shine. But there was something different about Ben. He showed up even when the world gave him no reason to. While others climbed quickly, he moved one step at a time, refusing to let slow progress convince him he didn't belong. He learned from people better than him, gathered skills no one told him to learn, and trained for opportunities that didn't even exist yet. Every failure became material for growth. Every closed door taught him how to build another. And then, BL didn't discover him by accident. It found a version of Ben shaped by resilience, sharper with each failure, more determined with each forgotten role. When the scripts finally arrived, he emerged not as a lucky newcomer, but as a young actor who had survived a silent struggle most people never witnessed. What made his journey powerful wasn't fame. It was the reminder that success doesn't need to explode. Sometimes it rises slowly, like dawn. Ben wasn't lifted by luck or connections. He lifted himself, refusing to disappear from the very path that tried to erase him. His story whispers a truth to anyone struggling in silence. You don't need a big breakthrough to succeed. You just need enough persistence to stand firm until the world finally turns toward you. Bright Vachirawit's story begins with a difficult childhood, when responsibility came early and dreams seemed like a luxury. While other kids ran after their hobbies, Bright learned to help his mother, to save every penny, to grow up faster than the world expected. Those years shaped him, not with bitterness, but with a quiet determination that would later ignite something extraordinary. With no privileges, no shortcuts, no safety nets, Bright built his future the only way he knew how, step by step. He took small jobs, learned new skills, and learned to adapt. He didn't wait for opportunity. He trained himself so that when it finally came, he was ready to run toward it with everything he had. And he did. When that first ray of light appeared, Bright didn't just seize the opportunity. He exploded. From a young boy helping his family survive, he has risen to become one of Asia's most recognizable faces, a symbol of resilience hidden in charisma. What resonates with fans all over the world, especially international audiences who understand the weight of striving to overcome circumstances, is the message embedded in his journey. Your beginnings do not determine your potential. Bright shows that a humble beginning is not a limitation, it is a motivation. It is a testament to how resilience, perseverance, and heart can rewrite destiny. As we continue to discover more Thai BL actors who have overcome hardships to find hope, Bright's story sets the tone, reminding us that every great journey begins with someone brave enough to try, someone who does not let the past determine the future. And trust me, the stories that follow carry their own fire, their own lessons, and their own sparks of inspiration waiting to be shared. Gawin Caskey's story doesn't begin with flashy glory or instant fame. It begins in the quiet corners of struggle, where dreams seem bigger than the world you live in. Born of Thai and American descent, he often found himself caught between identities, searching for a place that truly fit him. In the early days, he wasn't a breakout star or a face on every poster. He was a guy in small roles, appearing just long enough for the world to forget his name. Directors said he was good, but not cast. And for a long time, that was his reality. But Gawin carried within him an extraordinary strength, patience, the kind that's quiet but relentless. While others chased instant success, he focused on building himself step by step. He studied every detail, the weight of a breath, the sincerity in a look, the silence between two lines. He believed that if he acted sincerely, someone out there would feel it, even if it was just for a few seconds on screen. And slowly, that sincerity began to shine through. Then came My School President, Never Let Me Go, and finally, Only Friends. Projects that didn't make him, but revealed what he had always carried within. A young actor who refused to rush, refused to fall, and refused to extinguish the aura he had protected for so many years. Gawin's success wasn't luck, it was perseverance. It was the quiet courage to keep going, even when no one was applauding. And his journey reminds us of something crucial. Success doesn't always resound. Sometimes it whispers, waiting for the moment you're finally strong enough to hear it. As we move on to the next story, let's carry Gawin's message with us. Greatness grows in silence, and blooms when the world finally learns to pay attention. Jumpol's journey didn't start with fame. It started with a guy who had more drive than security. Before GMMTV, was a struggling student taking any small job he could find just to keep his dream alive. There were no shortcuts in the industry, no family privileges, no chosen talent, just a quiet, unquenchable fire. In the early days, he wasn't like the flashy stars on posters. Casting offices passed him by. Auditions turned into rejections. The few roles he landed were so small, they were almost anonymous. But approached each moment with intention, as if one day someone would finally see the depth in him. He worked, observed, learned, and kept going when most people stopped. And slowly, things changed. Audiences noticed the sincerity in his performance. His unforced charm, his unscripted humor, his presence that isn't loud, but deeply felt. Didn't rise through hype or controversy. He rose because sincerity travels far and wide, and people recognize sincerity when they see it. His story is a reminder that success isn't reserved for the privileged. It's built by those who stay long enough for their effort to speak for them. Proves that you don't have to start at the top. You just need the courage to climb, one humble step at a time. As we move on to the next story, remember this: every dream has a beginning, and sometimes the strongest beginnings are the ones that go unnoticed until the world finally notices. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the inspiring journeys we share. Stories made to uplift and bring us all closer together. Thanaboon's rise didn't begin with luck or a natural spotlight. It began with a quiet kid in an everyday neighborhood, someone no one expected to stand out. He had no artistic background, no money, and no easy doors waiting for him. Surrounded by louder voices and flashier talent, Fine often felt like he barely registered at all. But instead of fading, he chose to move forward. Slowly, steadily, one step at a time. And that choice, repeated day after day, is what carried him out of the shadows and toward the light he once thought was unreachable. He started from zero, literally zero. No training, no mentor, no special advantage, just determination and a belief that effort, however slow, was worth it. While others moved quickly, Finey moved with purpose. He observed, learned, practiced after work. He accepted any role, big or small, believing each character could shape him into someone stronger. And little by little, the boy no one noticed became the actor no one could ignore. His rise in BL was not explosive, it was earned. Through rejection, burnout, and moments when giving up would have been the easier path. Finey kept showing up, and that's what fans love about him. He proves that success isn't for the chosen few, but for those who refuse to give up on their own journey. His presence reminds us that dreams grow silently before they finally bloom. And sometimes, it's the slowest steps that build the strongest stories. Not all stars are born with natural talent. Some are born with perseverance. Tay Tawan Vihokratana is one of those rare stories. Before he was famous, before he landed leading roles, he was just a young man stepping into an industry that seemed not to want him. He had no strong backing, no glittering opportunities waiting for him. What he had was uncertainty. Auditions turned into a cycle of rejection, voices saying not outstanding enough, not suitable for the role, echoing around him. While others debuted in the spotlight, Tay began in the quiet corners no one noticed. But quiet beginnings often contain the strongest fires. Instead of taking shortcuts, Tay chose discipline. He trained himself to express warmth with a single glance, to let even silence carry meaning, to make sincerity his signature. He didn't rush to be loud, He worked to be genuine. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, audiences began to sense him before they fully saw him. His rise wasn't a flash in the pan, it was earned. From overlooked supporting roles to becoming one of GMMTV's most respected BL actors, Tay proved that success doesn't need noise, it needs heart. It needs the courage to stay when the world tells you to leave, and the patience to grow when no one is watching. The magic of Tay's journey is simple. You don't need to be born extraordinary, you just need the strength to keep going until your moment arrives. In a world where many feel invisible or undervalued, his story reminds us that light eventually finds those who refuse to give up. Plan Rathavit's journey didn't begin with confidence or certainty. It began with doubt. Not the kind of doubt that makes you flinch, but the kind that forces you to question everything. He wasn't the guy everyone pointed to and said, "He can do it." He was the one everyone overlooked, the one who faded into obscurity, the face that slipped into the background while others took center stage. Yet in a world filled with natural-born stars, Plan started as the one who had to learn how to craft his own light, one spark at a time. But Plan didn't give up. He had been training himself, quietly, relentlessly, believing that one day a role would finally come his way. And when Love by Chance arrived, it didn't just give him a role, it gave him a voice. From a forgotten face, Plan became a name people remembered, not because luck found him, but because he waited, patiently, for his moment to appear. What makes his journey powerful is that it mirrors a truth many of us avoid. The hardest part of chasing your dreams isn't the work, it's the waiting. It's choosing patience when the world tells you to hurry. It's standing firm when every audition whispers, "Not yet." Plan's rise reminds us that greatness doesn't always arrive with a bang. Sometimes it grows in silence, in the effort no one sees, in the courage to stay when leaving seems easier. And as we continue uncovering more stories of BL actors who rose from humble beginnings to global influence, let this be our anchor. Success isn't defined by how fast you rise, but by how long you believe your moment is worth waiting for. Not every dream is born under bright lights. Some begin in the stillness of ordinary days, with a boy quietly carrying an ambition far larger than his world. Saint Suppapong came from a modest Thai Chinese family, with no connections and no ready-made path into showbiz. What he had was simplicity, responsibility, and the resolve to carve his own way. No privilege, no shortcuts, just the courage to walk forward when no one could walk beside him. In his early days, the industry didn't see what he could become. They questioned everything: his gentle looks, his quiet nature, his lack of experience. Saint was told he wasn't loud enough, bold enough, or ready for a world built on noise. But instead of reshaping himself to fit those expectations, he chose a harder road, learning acting by himself, searching for opportunities without a manager, showing up to auditions with nothing but determination. When Love by Chance arrived, it wasn't a miracle, it was proof. Proof that years of unseen discipline matter. His performance stunned viewers across Asia. Soft, emotional, sincere in a way that felt real, not manufactured. The boy who once stood outside the industry suddenly became an actor, a singer, a producer. Not because someone opened the door, but because he built his own doorway, brick by brick. Saint reminds us of something powerful. You don't need to start with advantage to become exceptional. You just need the strength to keep walking when the road is steep. And as we move forward in this series, exploring more creators who rose from quiet beginnings to shape entire communities, remember this: every story is different, every journey unique, and together we're here to share them openly, joyfully, in a space where everyone is welcome. Earth Katsamonnat started with a cramped room, a cheap phone, and a dream that seemed too fragile to articulate. While others entered the industry with the support of agencies and formal training, Earth went it alone. No agency, no mentor, no safety net. Just hard work. Just hope. Just heart. In his early years, he wasn't called an actor or an idol. He lived in that vague, in-between space. The space where most people give up because the world hasn't seen them yet. But Earth kept going. Every video he shot, every line he practiced, every quiet night spent editing became a small promise to himself. I won't disappear. What powered his journey wasn't fame, but faith. The faith he held on to when no one else would. Earth learned everything he didn't know. He created opportunities when there weren't any. He showed his true self to audiences, even when the industry didn't see him. And slowly, the world began to take notice. Starting as an unknown creator behind the scenes, he gradually became one of Thailand's most beloved BL actors, admired not for perfection, but for perseverance. His rise wasn't loud, but steady, not instant, but earned. His story reminds us that greatness doesn't always come from a grand beginning. Sometimes it comes from the smallest room, the simplest camera, and the quiet, relentless determination to try again tomorrow. Earth Katsamonnat proves that you don't need a strong start to go far, only the courage to let small steps become the force that pushes you forward. Mew Suppasit's story is not one of poverty, but of courage, the courage that comes from abandoning the path everyone expected him to follow. He grew up in a family that valued security, stability, and academic prestige. Art was not only foreign, but also unthinkable. Yet, while the world pushed him toward a predictable future, Mew felt a quiet fire calling him somewhere else. To be an actor, starting from scratch, starting late, with no connections, no spotlight, no mentor. And in an industry where youth is money, he was quickly labeled too old to debut, too different to fit in, too real to be an idol. But Mew didn't give up. He built, day by day, step by step, with discipline, maturity, and a firm belief that time means nothing if the heart is ready. And when Tharntype appeared, it wasn't luck. It was the moment he had been quietly preparing for. His performance didn't just start a career, it lit one up. From actor to singer to producer and even PhD, Mew has proven that success isn't reserved for the privileged or the gifted. It belongs to those who dare to take the harder path. What makes this journey special isn't the hardship, but the courage. The courage to leave comfort behind and choose the unknown. To start late, to stand out, to believe your voice had value long before the world recognized it. And as we continue to explore 15 Thai BL stars who rose from humble beginnings, each story will carry its own spark, its own lesson, its own reason to believe. Because here, in this space, we honor every path, from those paved by struggle to those shaped by courage. This is our journey. And the next story begins now. Kaltung Thanawat didn't get there by luck. He spent years quietly persevering. Before he became famous, he was the kid who was always almost enough, almost chosen, almost seen, almost believed. Growing up with little money and even less opportunity, he learned early that dreams don't blossom overnight. They grow slowly, in the shadows, nurtured with patience no one notices. While other actors chased instant recognition, Kaltung spent countless nights honing the details of his craft. The breath between lines, the weight of a pause, the emotion behind a single look. He built depth in silence, with a discipline only those shaped by hardship can truly understand. And when the door finally opened, the gifted A Tale of Thousand Stars, Moonlight Chicken, The world finally saw what had been forming all along. An actor who didn't need noise, fame, or spotlight to be remembered. Just truth, just sincerity, just heart. His rise is a reminder to anyone who has ever felt invisible. He shows us that being overlooked doesn't mean being unworthy, that slow growth can climb to extraordinary heights. Kowtung embodies a truth many of us forget. You don't need a loud start to have a powerful story, only the courage to keep going. As we continue exploring Thai BL stars who rose from humble beginnings to incredible success, we hope these stories spark something in you. Share your thoughts below. Your journey matters too. And stay with us because our mission remains the same: to bring you meaningful stories, warm conversations, and inspiration for anyone chasing a dream that still feels far away. Born into a humble family in Bangkok, he grew up poor, without connections, and without any shortcuts. While other kids played after school, Chimon pursued auditions, learned the industry, and learned to survive in a world that rarely opened its doors to kids like him. There was no safety net, no easy path. Every step was made with discipline, patience, and a quiet fire that he never let go. What made Chimon extraordinary was not his grand ambition, but his quietness, the slow, steady pace of someone who didn't want to rush the journey. He didn't try to shock the world, he tried to understand it. On set, he focuses on emotion, studying human behavior, delving into characters until they feel real. From The Gifted to Blacklist to Never Let Me Go, he doesn't act to impress, he acts to touch the audience's heart, and the audience feels it. They feel sincerity, restraint, and depth. Chimon proves a powerful point. You don't need to be famous to be important. You don't need to be loud to be heard. If you're sincere, really sincere, the world will find you. His journey reminds us that greatness can blossom from quiet places, that dreams born in small rooms can reach the global screen, and that success from nothing is often the most powerful success. And now, as we explore more inspiring stories from Thai BL actors who have risen from adversity to hope, we want to hear from you. What did Chimon's story inspire in you today? Share your thoughts below. Let's keep this space open, warm, and inspiring for everyone. Phluk Natuch's journey began in the sleepy province of Lamphoon, a place where becoming an actor felt like a dream meant for others. With no industry connections, no financial advantages, and no safety net, he entered the entertainment world at a young age, facing fierce competition, small roles, and the pressure to constantly reinvent himself. He even changed his stage name, hoping for another chance to be seen. What made Phluk so extraordinary was not luck, but resilience. He refused to let circumstances define his limits. While others waited for opportunities, he created his own, studying art in college, honing his acting skills, and branching out into YouTube and music so he wouldn't be trapped by the limits the industry tried to impose on him. In an image-obsessed industry, Phluk dared to be true to himself, even when it made him uncomfortable. Gradually, his perseverance lit the way forward. From humble beginnings, he rose to leading roles recognized across Asia, attracting BL fans worldwide who found inspiration in his honesty, resilience, and quiet determination. His story proves that greatness can come from small things, that pressure can shape excellence, and that being true to yourself is a strength. Which journey has resonated with you the most? Share your thoughts below. We'd love to hear from you. Our goal is to bring meaningful, uplifting stories to this community and create a space where everyone feels welcome to join the conversation. And that's where our story ends, for now. But remember, Every ending is just another beginning. Behind every smile you see on screen lies a battle you'll never fully know. And yet, they choose to rise, to fight, and to keep believing. Because dreams, real dreams, are not given. They're built through pain, patience, and perseverance. If these stories have moved you, if they've reminded you that strength can be soft and courage can be quiet, then maybe this space is where you belong. Subscribe to our channel, not just to watch, but to feel, to grow with us, to find hope through their journeys, and maybe to rediscover your own. And if you want to go even deeper, to stand with us as we tell more untold stories, to support the art that inspires hearts around the world, consider becoming a member of this channel. Together, we'll build something beautiful, a community that celebrates resilience, honesty, and the power of human stories. Because this isn't just about fame, it's about faith. It's about believing that even the smallest dream deserves to be seen. So until the next chapter begins, keep dreaming, keep fighting, and never forget, your story matters too. Thank you for watching, and welcome to the family.